Though the broader aim of this book extends far beyond the question of the Earth's form, as we clarified in the preceding chapter, let us nonetheless pose the question that encapsulates the entire issue. Is the Earth spherical or flat? Two camps exist. One claims it is a globe, the other insists it is flat. Each offers its arguments, proofs, and evidence. So, is it a revolving sphere or a motionless plane? Believe it or not, the answer matters little in itself. What truly matters is the hidden truth that lies behind it, the cornerstone of the entire debate. For if the Earth is a sphere revolving around a sun that coalesced from a great explosion 14 billion years ago, then this suggests it arose by mere chance. And thus, the theory of evolution would be vindicated, humanity reduced to a perishable creature no different from any other. No afterlife, no paradise, no hell, no judgment or recompense. Life, therefore, becomes devoid of meaning or value. What, then, is the point of a student striving in study if the final examination is but a myth? Yet if we dwell upon a flat earth, then such a plane must have a maker, and this they cannot bring themselves to admit. Hence, some assert that the purpose of this grand deception is to keep us in bondage, for slaves must not know the truth. We are their captives, denied true knowledge and genuine science, left with a severe deficiency in critical and independent thought. But heed this well, even if one believes the Earth to be spherical and the Big Bang a reality, yet still affirms that both are the handiwork of God, then my point stands: the shape of the Earth is ultimately irrelevant. Indeed, one might go further and place this entire matter under the principle: knowledge of no benefit, ignorance of no harm. For on the day of reckoning, we will not be held to account for believing in one form of the Earth or another, but rather for believing in the Creator of the Earth, whether it be flat, hollow, spherical, oblate, pear-shaped, or even resembling a donut. Nevertheless, we are called to ponder deeply upon the creation of the heavens and the earth, ever holding fast to the foundational supplication: Our Lord, you have not created all this in vain. Glory be to you. So protect us from the torment of the fire. Such reflection drives us toward understanding, guided by the evidence of revelation, capacity for free thought, and the submission of all we have been taught to the scrutiny of reason, not according to theories imposed upon us and repeated until they masqueraded as axioms, defended blindly, whether as part of a deliberate plan to divert us from the truth of God's existence or as mere unthinking conformity. For most who cling to the Earth's sphericity lack answers to the questions raised by those who uphold its flatness, questions we have attempted, throughout this book, to bring forth in abundance. Thus, the majority do not counter argument with argument, nor do they appeal to reason or logic. Instead, they resort to mockery and derision, taking refuge in theories imposed upon the world, never tested by their own hands, never verified by their own minds. In so doing, they imprison their intellects within many cells, foremost among them the prison of cognitive bias. This bias inclines individuals to seek, interpret, and present information in ways that confirm their existing beliefs or expectations, while ignoring or downplaying any evidence that challenges them. In other words, a natural tendency to favor information that aligns with what we already believe, while shunning information that unsettles or contradicts those beliefs, even if we lack proof for them, or the ability to refute the opposing view. For example, if you are convinced of a certain idea, you will instinctively focus only on the evidence that supports it and dismiss the evidence that undermines it, no matter how clear or compelling. This process often occurs unconsciously, yet it profoundly shapes how we analyze information and make decisions. It leads, ultimately, to the reinforcement of prior convictions, rather than the exploration of new or opposing perspectives. This, in the end, leads to errors in judgment and in the weighing of matters. Closely related is another prison known as selective bias, the tendency of individuals to choose or favor information that supports their existing beliefs or opinions. The human mind, by its very nature, inclines toward ease, accepting what is handed to it without troubling itself with the labor of inquiry or reflection. These are the complacent minds, the minds of the majority. Then comes biased interpretation, self-serving bias, and biased thinking. All of these, in essence, denote the same human inclination to interpret information in ways that reinforce preconceived notions or ingrained beliefs, to approach thought itself in a partial manner that bolsters such convictions, and to perceive or analyze reality through the narrow lens of personal perspective and subjective experience, rather than through objective assessment. What unites all these terms is that they describe humanity's tendency to magnify what affirms its certainties, while ignoring or diminishing the significance of what stands opposed to them. These concepts have been illuminated by cognitive and social psychology, where they are employed to study how individuals process information and make decisions in light of pre-existing beliefs. Confirmation bias in particular is deeply tied to the brain's mechanisms of information processing, making it a crucial subject in cognitive neuroscience, which seeks to uncover the neural patterns that give rise to distorted reasoning. In sociology, these same phenomena are examined to understand how collective beliefs or prevailing cultures shape social behavior and opinion, and how individuals interact with information within the current of a shared social framework, producing a pattern in which fixed ideas are preserved, while new doors remain unopened. And thus, the one who dares to contradict the current appears alien within his society, branded even as mad, like the sighted man among a tribe of the blind. Behavioral economics, too, explores concepts such as confirmation bias, seeking to explain why individuals so often make irrational economic decisions rooted in their preconceptions and expectations. From this, capitalism learned to fabricate false needs and cultivate mental images that drive people into irrational choices, persuading women, for instance, that cosmetics are essential to attain the manufactured ideal of beauty modeled after a certain actress or singer. Capitalism has profited immensely from the media, exploiting such biases to study how individuals consume information, preferring sources that echo their beliefs, shunning those that challenge them. All of this brings us to a simple truth. Though the human mind was fashioned for the liberty of thought, it so often chooses the comfort of neglect and thus forges its own chains in the pursuit of ease. Let us return to the question of the earth with a simple example. You know the jest that claims the moon is better than the sun, since the moon appears at night to illuminate the darkness, while the sun rises in an already bright day and thus is useless? Now imagine someone telling you this is not a joke, but the truth. At once, within your mind, confirmation bias and all its kin, those hidden prejudices, stir to life, and your judgment is swift. This person must be insane. This process unfolds in the subconscious, the true sovereign guiding the conscious mind in its decisions. It is for this reason that all methods of manipulation are directed at the subconscious first. Yet if you grant yourself the gift of neutrality, if you pause and allow your mind to think freely, you may discover that the man you dismissed as mad is indeed correct, or you may find he is mistaken. In either case, your mind has escaped its programmed mold, arriving at a conclusion that is its own, born of independent thought and genuine reflection. Yet this process is far from simple. It demands first the logical scrutiny of opinions and arguments, something idle minds tend to resist. For such analysis in itself is a journey of toil that opens the gates of inquiry before the intellect. For instance, through contemplation and reflection, we encounter the verse in the Holy Quran. And it is He who created the night and the day, and the sun and the moon. Each in an orbit is swimming. We mentioned earlier that the conjunction vav here signifies accompaniment, pointing to distinct entities joined together. As when we say Ahmed, Muhammad, Ibrahim, and Mustafa walk down the street. This indicates 4 separate individuals. But if we were to speak of a single person, we would not say Ahmed, his head, his nose, and his hair are walking down the street. Similarly, the verse clarifies that the day is one thing, while the sun is another. Each is a creation distinct from the other. The sun radiates with brilliant light, whereas the day is an independent illumination. God Almighty declares, "Say, have you considered, if Allah should make for you the night continuous until the day of resurrection, what deity other than Allah could bring you radiance?" Why then does he use the word radiance, to describe the day, rather than mere light? Why not employ the sun itself as a metaphor for day? And why, in another passage, does he swear by the interplay of sun, moon, day, and night? By the sun and its forenoon brightness, by the moon when it follows it, by the day when it displays it, and by the night when it covers it. Did you notice that it is the day that unveils the sun, making it manifest? I know this is a religious reflection, but do you not find total solar eclipses reinforcing it? During an eclipse, the sun vanishes along with its light, yet the world does not plunge into utter darkness. A measure of radiance remains. Likewise, at high altitudes where weather balloons ascend, the sky appears pitch black despite the presence of the sun, while the brightness of day persists below as something independent. And yet, we cannot overlook other testimonies that contradict this interpretation, such as the explanation that it is the atmosphere itself which makes Earth luminous, while the sky remains in darkness. But once again, whether you believe that day is a creation distinct in itself, or that the sun is its sole cause, that is not the crux of the matter. Take another example, sound or audio frequencies. Although many of us possess a general notion of sound, whether scientific or colored by conspiracy theories, the vast majority remain unaware that sound is, in truth, one of the very cornerstones of existence. And perhaps you would be even more astonished to hear that certain forms of light originate as sound frequencies. Though light consists of electromagnetic waves and sound of mechanical longitudinal or transverse waves, there exists between them a certain connection. Under certain conditions, sound may contribute to the formation of light. This occurs in a phenomenon known as sonoluminescence. When gas bubbles in a liquid are subjected to powerful sound waves, they vibrate and collapse with such incredible speed that the temperatures within soar to extraordinary levels, producing a flash of visible light. Physicists have successfully generated sonoluminescence by placing tiny gas bubbles in water and bombarding them with intense ultrasonic waves. Focused upon the bubbles, the sound waves produce bursts of radiant light. Moreover, researchers are exploring whether this effect might be harnessed to produce energy through a form of nuclear fusion known as sonofusion. Does this not remind us of the stars? Could they not be, in essence, bubbles within some vast ocean struck by titanic sound waves, whether in our heavens or descending from realms beyond? Why sound? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was voice. And the end of the world will be heralded by a trumpet blast, again a sound. The human body responds to every frequency, whether audible or not, in ways that can be either constructive or destructive. Because topics like sonic influence and other techniques of mass manipulation are vast and contentious, I treated them at length in the second part of this work, titled A Handful from the Prophet's Trace. As for the close of our journey here, you may well call me mad or rue the time and effort you have wasted in following this path. That dissonance you feel, your mind recoiling at the clash between new knowledge and old certainties, is familiar to me. It was my path for years. I refused, rebelled, believed, and then doubted again. I went back and forth until, painfully, I learned that entrenched convictions do not yield lightly under challenge. In fact, the more they are challenged, the tighter people cling, as if their danger centers were under siege. All I have tried to do is gesture you toward the sky, and remind you of simple, self-evident truths. That rain falls from clouds, and that heat comes from the sun. Now I urge you to forget, at least for a little while, what you read, heard, or saw, and investigate for yourself the origins of petroleum, and whether it truly derives from decomposed organisms over eons, the HARP Project, Project Blue Beam, the real nature of disease, the plans of the deceiver, the lives of Jack Parsons and Aleister Crowley, the connections between space agencies, the Masonic programs that would stage extraterrestrial spectacles to usher in an army of devils and the return of their false messiah. Search into what transpires in the sacred precincts. Search, and your eyes will ache, for it will feel as though you are opening them for the first time. The dazzling light that will alter the very pattern of your thought will strike like hammers upon your head. Search, and know that the words which tear the veil of silence and thrust themselves into the world are like birds of hallucination, flying without wings through the firmament. At last you ask, where is the truth? Believe me, it stands plainly before our eyes, as plain as the sun, yet we do not see it because they have hidden that sun from us. They have hidden the light of truth and imprisoned our minds within a material world whose concepts they have inverted. We denied the truthful one and believed the falsehood that fills the earth with empty promises, a life without meaning, accidental, transient, and destined to vanish by mere chance. A cosmos born of an exploded atom with no supreme maker, a creature that allegedly arose by blind selection, elevated above other beings, a self-spinning ball in a void. Thus our souls sank into a profound slumber, until we could no longer admit that we had lived within a vast illusion. We became the victims of a deception called science. So, if you do not believe me, if you shake your head violently, unwilling to accept it, if you place your faith in science, then know that I too believe in science. Yet above all, I believe in God.